Bonjour.
Bonjour.
That's better.
There we go.
Good. How are you doing?
Doing well. Just my last class of the day. I've had 4 classes, so
Yeah, I do not envy y'all.
yeah.
Oli, bonjour.
Bonjour,
Comment ça va?
ça va?
Oui, ça va.
Yeah.
Love it. Bonjour, Abigail.
Bonjour.
Comment ça va?
Ça va bien, oui.
Oui.
Merci.
Bon. Let's see. Michael, you know that Carson Newman sweatshirt you'd wear all the time to protest? Michael. Oh, well. I was wearing my own protest gear. Not that I need to protest anything, but I have a Clemson sweatshirt on. It's feeling pretty rebellious like Michael does. Yes.
I wore my Carson Newman shirt earlier this week, maybe, and
Yeah.
I said, if I could have went back to my dorm and got my stuff, I wouldn't have to.
That's right. I love it. Oh, good. All right. Well, let's get started. I think I have a good plan to make this pretty fun. So we're going to look at the Bible today. Oh, how bizarre for a French class. But yeah, it's going to be good. Okay, I've been doing it this way. I think this works. I'm going to throw up the answers so you can look at those. Take a look. Shouldn't it? I mean, that was no deal, right? All right, while you're checking those, I'm going to ask you about each exercise. I'm going to ask you to justify why it's using the subjunctive. So Michael, for exercice G, talking about second home and a neighbor, why do you need to use the subjunctive in that exercise? Michael? I don't know. Hey, well, Oli, exercise K. On K, talking about asking a tour guide, why do you need to put that in the subjunctive?
On K?
Yeah.
It's like asking not for a specific thing. It's like, do we have? And so it's like, oh, we don't know.
Exactly.
Do we?
Yeah, you don't know you're a tourist. You don't know if it's exactly. I always like the justification, known but not yet found, and all that. Let's see. Indefinite, non-existent. You don't know. You don't know if there's a theater that puts on American plays. You don't know. So, okay. I need to let Michael in. All right. And Abigail, exercice L. You're the boss telling your employees what you're looking for the office to hire new people. Why do you need to use the subjunctive there?
Because you're talking about something that you desire but don't have yet.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't know if you're going to be able to find these people. So exactly. Now, Michael, can you hear? Okay, good. Tell us why on J about the neighbor in the second home. Why would you need to use the subjunctive there?
Is it because your neighbor? It's your own neighbor, and so it's like
Yeah, it's your neighbor, and they're asking like, do you know a mason? Do you know a mechanic? Do you know an electrician, a
Right.
carpenter? So, is it because those people are indefinite, non-existent, or desired but not yet found?
They're existent.
Non-existent. Well, uh, we don't know, honestly. I would assume, like, let's see, like number 2,
Mm-hmm.
we could find. I think that's a mechanic. I just saw it and I was like, oh yeah, that's what that is. Surely, like number 1, surely you can find a mason who wants to build a garage.
Right.
Yeah, so um, I would call it maybe either indefinite
Mm-hmm.
or desired but not yet found. So just quick review there. Like I said, this part's the trickiest part because they look like such banal sentences that you wouldn't want to use something. I always think of the subjunctive as very sophisticated because French. Because I use it so much and we don't. And that says something about us too, that we say it in the indicative. Do you know a mechanic who's honest? Well, yeah. Number 3, do you know an electrician who keeps his promises, or who, like, it just says something that we use that in the indicative. Now for the last part. No. Okay, there's someone wants to say hello. Not that they can hear you, but there we go. All right. Thanks, Betty. Okay. So I am now not like, you can't see the homework anymore, right? Okay, good. All right, so we're on the last part. Good news. These are, well, they're still a little sneaky. The first part's sneaky. The second part's not. Okay, so 167. Subjunctive after superlative expressions. This is very American to say something is the best, the worst, the most, all that. If you're going to do an expression like that, an expression that generally shows an opinion or an emotion, it says like the first, the last, the only, etc., then you're going to use the subjunctive. And we say stuff like this all the time because we're very dramatic and hyperbolic in our speech. We have no problem calling something the best whatever we've ever had and all this. So look at that first example. C'est le meilleur café qu'on puisse acheter. It is the best coffee you can buy. And I have a little, again, in order to make this entertaining for you, I'm bringing this up. Give me a second. Okay, there's a lot of tabs, so we're gonna use like half of them. Nope. Sorry, having technical difficulties. Okay. Share screen. This one. Okay. I'm gonna get to that in a second. Oh. Yes. Okay. pop up real big. But when I saw that, I immediately thought of Will Ferrell and are you serious? That sucks. Stop, I don't want to get on Pinterest. There we go. There's a whole lot of Will Ferrell right there. But when he comes into the coffee shop and talks about the best coffee in the world, when he says that, if he were saying it, if you got it dubbed in French, he would use the subjunctive. So, like I said, that's very American of us, but it is. Subjunctive has its roots in subjectivity, and it's subjective of us to think that that this one little place in New York has the best cup of coffee in the world. So, so let that meme just grace your mind. But yeah, so there's one. So if we're talking about something, and it may not seem to me if something's the first or the last, that's not subjective, but it is superlative. It is superlative is always best, worst, first, last, etc. So there's that, and you're gonna exercise that with exercice N. You're gonna give your opinion, and a lot of them is what's the best. And again, you may think back to like, man, probably in like first or second year in high school, we probably did this. We probably did some sort of this is the best this, and we've done activities in previous semesters, because if you're saying this is the best restaurant, this is the best comedian, that's all you're saying. There's no que or qui, and that's what gives it away as the subjunctive. So the first one, qui est le meilleur comédien que vous ayez jamais vu jouer? Who's the best comedian that you've ever seen perform? That could is what makes it subjunctive. So there's 8 of those. We'll talk about that on Friday. That'll be fun to agree or disagree on. Hold on one second. With what? Okay. So there's one, and then the last one is subjunctive and third person commands. Okay. So this is the imperative. The imperative is remember the imperative? It's even its own mood. It exists in the tu, nu, and vous form. And and then you're like, you may be wondering like, why are we putting the subjunctive into this? Well, the reason is because these are tu and vous are second person, vous is first person. So these are third person commands, okay? And they are indirect. They're things that you say that are not directed at you, tu or vous, or us, let's, whatever. So the examples, qu'elle le fasse tout de suite, let her do it at once, all right? Even though, well, you're asking someone else to let her, it's tricky, but it's third person. Qu'il entre, let him come in. Qu'il réussisse, may they succeed. And that que means that they would succeed, that they succeed. And this one that you've probably said or used, vive la France. You said it, I'm sure you didn't know it is in the subjunctive. There is no que there. I can't explain why, there's just not. It'd have to be que la France vive. But if you've said vive la France, vive la révolution, you use the subjunctive. Luckily for you though, it's the same in both indicative and the subjunctive, so you didn't think anything about it. So just so you know, you're using the subjunctive. It's kind of like a lot of English grammar probably that you had in like middle school, high school, when the teacher's telling you, oh, you're using this, and you're like, I didn't know, but look at me, I'm still using it correctly. Haha, I don't care. So this is one of those. But one place where you see this a lot is the Bible. And I know that I don't know that you can get sick of Buddy the Elf, but I've got a couple more tabs up here. So now we're going to look in the Bible, but in French. Okay. So here is Genesis 1 in French, one of the translations. So anyone know what this is in English?
Let there be light.
Yeah, let there be light. A lot of times when we do these third person commands, we say let. So yeah, let there be light. And then in verse 6, let's separate the two. Let's separate the dark and the light. Verse 9. The sky. And all, yeah, but there's the good. Le sec paraisse, the dryness appeared. That's where the land came from, the land and the sea. Right here, Kili A. Let there be a separation of the two, etc., etc. Yeah, that's fine. So there's one instance. Here's another one. Did I? Nope. Oh yeah. Here's one from Psalm 67. And you may not be super familiar with that. So here's a blessing. Blessings are usually in the subjunctive. So may God be gracious to us and bless us and make his face shine on us. May the people praise you, God. That's Psalm 67. And here it is in French. I like how they call for a pause right there. Yes. There's fas, bénisse, to bless. You could see that's an IR verb, and that ending that should be like, oh, subjunctive. So there's an example. And of course, when you saw that, it may have made you think of the blessing in Numbers. And here's that. Nope. Here's that. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine on you, etc., etc. So it's pretty cool. Just thought that would be nice. But it's always starts with k, and takes the subjunctive. So there is that. You're going to do. There you go. You're going to do exercise O. Monsieur, Madame Sommier viennent d'avoir un enfant. Exprimez ce que leurs amis leur disent. So they're about to have a baby. These are what people say to them. Like example, qu'ils vivent longtemps. May they live long. So you'll put que in front of everything. Il, because they don't know the gender of the baby apparently, or whatever. And then you will put that in the subjunctive. So there's no, for this one, there's no like, is it indicative or is it subjunctive? There's none of that for regular homework, but I'm giving you the last part of the test, which that will be that. So your regular homework is N and O, And there's one more thing I want you to do, which turn over to 170. There's exercise R. I'm not going to make you do those translations because I'm not a terrible person. No, it's just that like there's so much to it and we're trying to kind of beat the clock here. What I would like is for you, like I'm going to give you all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to give each of you 2 of them, and I want you to explain why you would use the subjunctive. So I'm going to make a quick note. Abigail, you'll do 1 and 2. Michael, 3 and 4. Oli, 5 and 6. I'll have Anne do 7 and 8. I'll have Dalton on 9 and 10, and if he does not grace us with his presence, I'll take him, and I'll take 11 and 12. So you don't have to translate anything. You just have to explain why that would be in the subjunctive. Like on number 12, let them have a good time. That's the one we just went over. It would be que. It's that imperative third person command. So what you will do for the test is exercice Q, and there's 17 of them. It's a compléter cette histoire avec les formes correctes des verbes entre parenthèses. So it could be indicative, it could be subjunctive, but you've got everything at your disposal, so that's awesome. You decide, get it right. This is one of the hardest concepts because we don't use it a lot in English. It's also difficult because well, before it's like, meh, you just learn how to form it, and that's been your biggest struggle. Oh, I can't form it. Now it's like, oh, I wish that were my biggest struggle. So go through there, whether it's indicative or subjunctive, and that'll be the other part of your test. I'll put this on an announcement, but the test will be due Monday. So you've got through Monday to work on it, and it's going to be, and I've already told you this, chapter 14, exercise J, sections 4 and 5 on 168, and then what I just told you, chapter 15, exercise Q, page 169. So we'll count that as a test. So I think that's pretty fair, and quite honestly, in the past, even when we got to meet regularly, I would do stuff where it was like, I'll let you use the book because this is just rough. And I'd much rather it's about getting the concept down. And sometimes it's just good to have like the pressure of taking a test and then getting to go back instead of like memorize this chunk and then apply it. It's either way, it's learning. So use the book. Don't treat it like, oh, I'm taking a test, I cannot dare use the book. It's in the book. Excuse me, you can use the book. Okay, so there is that. Il y a des questions? No? All right, shouldn't be bad. I do need to get your quizzes back to you, and I'm mailing those off today, your previous tests and stuff. So what have other professors said about finals? Anyone? Nope. Yep.
I
Okay.
think I just have to write papers.
Okay.
So
I think I have
feel
a
like mine are
presentation.
Okay. Michael, you weren't in that Zoom, but you got it to where like we're not doing any sort of presentation in this class, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Good. All right, Abigail, what about you?
Most of my teachers just pretty much have the same thing. Like we're just taking tests just online.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because that's what I mean, and I'll give you like, I'll check when grades are due, and I just think I think if you give it to me by Thursday, I don't really care. I don't think you need to do it in a 2-hour block or anything like that. Like, just do it and give it back to me so I can grade it. Like, that's all there's to it. Okay, but we'll get into that next week. We got one and a half other concepts to cover, so that's good. All right. Well, let's read then. There's nothing else I had on that, so I have so many things laid out here. Easy French Reader, à la page 96, and I have it marked Oli. Got Holly and Michael reading. Oli, you'll start with Les Seigneurs. Les Seigneurs, the last paragraph on 96, and Richelieu, who we're reading about.
We good?
Yep.
Okay. Les seigneurs détestent Richelieu parce qu'il les oblige à obéir
Obéir.
au roi. Ils font de nombreux complots pour se débarrasser
Mhm.
de lui et ils essaient même de l'assassiner.
L'assassiner. Oui.
Richelieu fait condamner
Condamné.
à mort tous ceux
Mhm.
qui participent
Participe.
à ces complots. Il fait même exécuter
Oui.
un des plus grands seigneurs du royaume,
Oui.
le duc de Montmorency,
Oui.
usant de fois pour affaiblir les seigneurs et les empêcher de résister à l'autorité du roi. Richelieu leur
Interdit.
interdit de voir des châteaux forts. Il leur interdit aussi de se bâtir,
De se battre. Oui.
en duel.
En duel. Oui. Oui,
Duel.
oui. Et en anglais.
So I think it's the Lord.
It is. It is. Yeah.
They didn't like Richelieu
Yeah.
because he wanted them to obey the king.
Mm-hmm.
And because they didn't like him, they plotted to get rid of him by assassinating him.
Yep.
And when Richelieu found out about the people who were trying to kill him, he had them executed, including the Duke of Montmorency,
Yeah.
which was the cousin of the king.
Yep.
And to weaken the lords and to prevent them from resisting the king, they weren't allowed to have strong castles.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
I know, right? I guess that means like fortified and their own
Maybe.
little army, I would assume.
And they weren't allowed to have duels.
Yeah.
I guess.
Very good. Bon travail. All right, good. So, very good. Yeah, if you look at anything in the Bible that talks about the Lord, if you look up Psalm 23, in there, I won't screen share, but it's Le Seigneur est mon berger. Oh man, that was good. I had that one stored away. The Lord is my shepherd, and all that. So yeah, the lords, they didn't like Richelieu, and again, this is that whole absolute power deal. So yeah, I would have thought the whole like executing the cousin of the king would have backfired on him, but apparently not. All right, Michael, continue.
From Servier, right? Servier.
From L'Empire. Do you see
Where-
that? 97, the last paragraph.
I skipped 98. My bad.
Okay, no, that's good. That's good. Oh yeah, before you start, interdire. Remember interdire for interdit on Holly's paragraph. That's one of those that takes the subjunctive, and just point that out. So if you're like, oh, that's familiar, that's why. All right, go ahead.
Okay. L'Empire colonial continue à s'agrandir avec les acquisitions de la Martinique et de la Guadeloupe. Saint-Dominique,
Oui.
le futur Haiti et Cayenne.
But Haiti is actually Haiti.
Haiti.
Yes.
And I guess it's Cayenne.
Mhm. Yep.
La future capitale de la Guyane française.
Guyane.
Guyane française. Deviennent aussi des territoires français.
Okay, yeah, that remember that ENT cut. So devient and territoire. So just remember cut it off. All right, good. Yeah, I'll go ahead and go to the first paragraph on 98.
Okay. Ami des lettres, Richelieu fonde l'Académie française. Dans l'histoire, Richelieu est représente des différentes manières tantôt
Oui.
en homme très vilain, tantôt en homme très bon. Quel genre d'homme était-il vraiment?
Ah oui, bon. All right, good. All right, so tell us about that.
So the empire of the the colonial empire continued to grow with
Yeah,
the
very good.
acquisition
Yep.
of Martinique.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say that's Guadalupe is its own island, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Saint Dominique, which I'm thinking is Dominican Republic,
I think
and
so. think so.
Haiti,
Yeah.
and then Cayenne, which is the future capital of French Guiana.
Yeah, very good.
They and so these are all became French territories.
Very good. Very good. Yeah.
So amid all this, Richelieu founded the Academy of France.
Mm-hmm.
And in history, Richelieu represents he represents different like the educational side of things, whereas he was known as being thank you, Kat, mean spirited.
That's amazing. Love it.
Yeah.
Je dois parler français.
Yeah.
These are my people.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, sorry. I'm so distracted by the cat. Go ahead.
all
I will
good.
look away. I will look away.
So he was known as a villain during his time, but now he's known as someone who is good, right? He's like because he created the Academy of France.
Well, okay, so it says like dans l'histoire, like usually histoire is like in a story, in the story, but this literally does mean history. So history portrays Richelieu in two totally different manners. You've got he is pretty villainous. He's executing people. He's be like, absolutely, you must absolutely follow the king. But then he founded the Académie Française. So you can't hate that guy. I mean, not in France you can't. So
Right.
but you think about how France is. I mean, they're so close to us in our need for independence and like not having total authority and all that. So he's a hard picture to paint in history is basically what they're saying.
Right.
And then it asks like which version of him is the real one. So ooh. So at the beginning of that paragraph, ami des lettres is the humanities. So a friend of the humanities, Richelieu founded the Académie Française. So I just want to remind you of that. That's easy to miss. Um, and I never use tanto. I never see it, but what a fun word to say. You know, when I think now, I think maintenant. I mean, that's just the go-to word. But tanto, I feel like I'm going to use that like just for funsies. Like, yeah. Um, so let's see. Anything? Oh yeah. Um, that paragraph that I'm glad that first paragraph fell on you, Michael, because if you took high school French, you're like, oh yeah, French Guiana, oh yeah, Haiti, and all, because like,
Yeah.
yeah, because if you took high school French, you're used to justifying why you took French, because it was like, why'd you take French? So and every French teacher is like, well, you can get on all 6 continents with French, and you know, like, and
Yeah.
like that's your South America. There is French Guiana, Haiti, and even that, like, that's a little, like, French Guiana is in South America. Haiti's a little bit of a stretch, like the Caribbean. What is your cat's name? I have to know. I can't.
Uh, her name is Shaggy because
Oh
she's
my
scared.
gosh.
She used to be really scared of everything, but now she just likes to get on top of people and bug people.
Yep, that's amazing. Clearly, she's not been paying enough attention, so she has to be part
You
of
would
this.
think you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's one, literally like one bright spot in all this, you know, is that like, oh, now we get to be Michael's cat. Like we've, you know, yeah. Okay. But yeah, Guadalupe, Martinique, these are, if you had high school French, you couldn't just rattle these off because you've had to use them. All right. And the last one, we got 2 minutes. I'll do the last one. Bon travail, tout le monde. This time, Abigail. Servir le roi et agrandir le prestige et le pouvoir du pays étaient les choses les plus importantes pour lui. Il pouvait accomplir ce qu'il voulait avec une habileté merveilleuse. Quand une occasion se présentait, il la tournait à son avantage. De toute façon, Richelieu a été un des hommes d'État le plus important de France. Okay, so although this section was titled Louis XIII and Richelieu, this was really about Richelieu. I mean, okay, Louis did die, like, you know, a couple paragraphs in, but still. To serve the king and to agrandir real quick. Remember how, like, you got how they like to make an adjective into a verb, and they make it an IR verb. So agrandir. So Michael was like right on top of that. But to grow, so to make bigger. So to serve the king and to grow prestige and power of the country was the most important thing to him. He could accomplish what he wanted with a marvelous ability. That was earlier. I can't remember ability. I guess ability. I guess. Okay. When an occasion presented itself, he turned it to his advantage. In this way, Richelieu was one of the most important people of the state. Okay, and we're getting close to the French Revolution. Hopefully we'll get there. But yeah, he was part of the state, the man. So there's that. It's about to cut us off.